Okay, I'll just start recording it and give the introduction.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think we don't need an introduction for Dr. Kavita Chandak because she's very, she's very famous. She's very flourished in her practice, very successful, and she knows what she does. She knows what she practices, and she keeps true to her practice or true to her education and knowledge. So with that small thing, we'll start the session because we're already 7 minutes late, and I don't want to take a lot of time. I want to give it to
Yeah.
Dr. Kavita
Yes.
Chandak, and let's learn
Sure.
about miasms.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and please take over, Doctor.
Yeah. Rashmika, you have to give me the permission for screen sharing.
Screen sharing, yes, you have the
Yeah.
permission for screen sharing.
No, actually, it is showing that host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Now can you see the screen share?
Yes, yes, yes. Now I can see. So, hello everyone. Today we will talk about miasm. So here I am again with Karthik, and it's really a pleasure to work with him because he is such a genius and nice person. So just without wasting our time, let us talk about miasm. Can you see my whole screen, Rashmika?
Yes,
Hello.
yes, yes, yes. We can see
Okay,
the whole.
okay, and okay. Am I clearly audible for everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So now today, friends, we will talk about unfolding the mystery of miasm. Miasm is such a subject that everybody has his own ideas regarding this, but we need to clarify these ideas and we have to follow miasms in our practice. Thank you so much, I Love Homeopathy and Mr. Karthik Raghamurthy and Dr. Rashmika for giving this opportunity, giving their platform to me to discuss my views regarding miasm. No two persons are exactly alike, each individual being made up of particular character by which he is distinguished from his neighbor. The form of the body, color of the hair and eyes, height, gait, abilities, and so on. That's why every individual person needs particular medical treatment. Every person is a single person of his own type in the whole universe. See, it is our uniqueness. It is our I am. That I am. It's me. So me is definitely different from you. Understand? So this is basic individuality on which homeopathy is based. Homeopathy is based on the law of similars. Indeed, the word itself is from the Greek homeon, meaning similar, and pathos, meaning disease. The law of similar means that a remedy which creates symptoms and conditions in a healthy person will cure a sick person manifesting similar symptoms. But according to my practice and Pierre Smith, it is a wonderful science based on the natural law of similia, where we treat the patients as we want to be treated, as we would wish to be treated. See, it's very simple. If you want to earn respect, first of all, you need to learn how to pay respect. If you empathize the agonies of the patient by your mind and heart, then only you are able to treat the individual person. But for that, you need to get involved in the patient with your presence of mind and presence of emotions. And that's why we say that homeopathy is the science of an individual. Homeopathy believes that disease is intimately associated with the life of the individual and is a result of internal concealed causes. And pathological tissue changes are the end result of the disease. And if cure is to be effected, the whole individual must be treated. See, if you want to treat the person, if you want to treat the disease, you need to look behind the disease. And behind the disease, always there is a immunity. Immunity means it is an individual person. So what we are going to treat in homeopathy? We are treating the person, we are not treating the disease. The three pillars of homeopathy are Matra Medica, Organon and Repertory. What is organon? The word organon is a Greek derivation of the word organa. which has the following types of meaning: a method of scientific investigation, literary work, and instrument of thought, system of logic. Hahnemann took special care to state only the facts on the basis of his experience and which could be verified by any physician. Organon of Medicine is a set of rules prepared by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann for the guidance of the homeopathic method of treatment, theoretical as well as practical. And that's why Organon is divided into two parts. The first theoretical part is from section 1 to 70, and the rest is 71 to 294 is the practical part. If you will learn this Bible of homeopathy, your practice will be very easy for you and you will start enjoying the achievements and success. Materia Medica is the branch of medical science which deals with the drugs, their sources, preparations and uses. It is the collection of real, pure, reliable effects of simple medicinal substances observed during drug proving on the healthy human beings in different sexes, different ages, and of various constitution. And that's why we say that Materia Medica is the final court of appeal. A homeopathic repertory is an index of disease symptoms with its related medicines. Simply, it is the record of collection of symptoms with its proved remedies. Now, relation between these three. Organon teaches the art of case taking and selection of simillimum with all cardinal principles of homeopathy. Once you get the totality of symptoms, the next step is to analyze and repertorize them. Repertorization gives you a set of proved remedies for the particular symptoms. It cuts short the selection of the remedy. Then we justify the remedy with Materia Medica as it is the final court of appeal. Why exploration of Materia Medica is necessary or why it is known as final court of appeal? Repertory is very well described in terms of which rubric has which remedy, but it does not tell the subtlety of those rubrics. To check the reliability of the remedy in the given subject, we need to verify our remedy with the Materia Medica. For example, if we have the rubric in repertory that is fear of dark in children, we have almost 14 remedies listed in synthesis repertory. But for these 14 remedies, which type of exact fear of dark in children and why there is a fear of dark in individual remedy, we have to consult Materia Medica. To know the exact meaning of fear of dark, we have to look in the Materia Medica for each remedy, what it means the fear of the dark. For instance, Stramonium has fear of dark due to the delusion of black dog attacks him or room is on the fire. Belladonna has this fear of dark because he has horrible visions in dark like ghosts, monsters, etc. So whenever patient is consulting you, you just ask the mother to talk with her child in their own language because every patient has different language and different community. So make the child comfortable. Let his mother ask him that बेटा आपको किस वजह से अंधेरे का डर लगता है? अच्छा आपको अंधेरे में भूत दिखता है क्या? मॉन्स्टर दिखता है क्या? आपको कुत्ता दिखता है क्या? Like this type of questions. So whenever child is comfortable with the mother, first of all, he will answer very freely and you will be able to pick the particular remedy. In the Organon of Medicine, Dr. Hahnemann separated the origin of the disease into two categories, the exciting and the fundamental causes, and related them very closely to the susceptibility of the physical constitution. Hahnemann taught that the susceptibility to the exciting factors is the fundamental cause which is attributed to the chronic miasm. It is very well mentioned in the aphorism 5. If you will read aphorism 5 from B.K. Sarkar or from some other doctor, then you will definitely understand the meaning. In aphorism 78, Dr. Hahnemann has mentioned that the true natural chronic diseases are those that arise from a chronic miasm. When left to themselves, improper treatment go on to increase, growing worse and torment the patient to the end of his life. and hence it is necessary. If you really want to treat the disease from its root, you have to attack the miasm behind it. And that's why today here we are to discuss the miasms. What are the miasms? I don't just want to talk about that old method, because see, now everything has been changed. We are in the modern era. We are suffering from the pandemic like corona. So we need to understand the modern concept of miasm. Exogenous foreign proteins may come from bacteria, viral, fungal, parasitic infections that invade the body. Bites and stings of insects and serpents, uncooked food articles, drugs like antibiotics and serum, vaccine, and so on. It's a big list. Entering into the organism from the environment as infections. Here we can see the virus, the snake bite, antibiotics, and vaccines. They all are the antigen. They enter in our body as infection and they have their own antigen. These exogenous foreign proteins, alien to our genetic constitution, are dangerous to the normal functioning of the organism and have to be destroyed or eradicated. Body has a well organized defense system for this, which we call immune system. Foreign proteins are called antigens. Body prepare immune bodies or antibodies against these dangerous invaders. Antibodies are specific to each antigen. Here you can see the antigen and the end of these antigens. There you can see a mark on the red antigen. They are the markers, and in the antibodies also there is binding sites. Antibodies are native proteins of globulin type which carries essential metals through the bloodstream and carries them to the various parts of the body and helps the body to fight infections, which have peculiar molecular structure with an active group known as paratope on its periphery. So, do you understand that every antibody has a paratope on its periphery? Active groups of antigen molecules are known as epitopes. Epitopes of antigen and paratopes of antibodies has a key-lock relationship of configuration. They should fit exactly each other in order to happen an immune reaction. Paratopes of antibodies, once interacted with the epitopes of particular antigen, undergoes a process which is known as molecular imprinting, by which the memory of epitope is imprinted into the paratope of the antibody. It means we get some characters of antigen into our antibody, and definitely because of this only our antibodies are able to fight with particular antigen and particular disease. Even after the antigens are destroyed and eradicated by the immune system, these molecular imprinted globulins or antibodies exist and circulate in the organism in most cases lifelong. And this is the mechanism by which lifelong immunity is attained through certain infections and vaccination. That's why we say that once if chickenpox happened any person once in the life, usually it is not there again. There is no relapse in the chickenpox because our body has developed the antibodies for the chickenpox now. These antibodies or molecular imprinted proteins are very important part of our defense system, playing a vital role in protecting us against infections. Same time, these molecular imprinted proteins or antibodies plays a negative role also, which is what we call miasm. See, every time in the movie, you are not gonna to watch hero all the time. Villains are also there in the movie. So when your antibodies work in a negative way, they themselves become the miasm and the predisposing factor for every disease. Sometimes antibodies get connected with the body's own biological molecule. This is a molecular error amounting to a state of pathology. These pathological conditions caused by off-target binding of antibodies or molecular imprinted proteins are the real miasms, Hahnemann described as the underlying factors behind every chronic disease. Identifying and removal of these off-target molecular blocks or miasms caused by antibodies or molecular imprinted proteins is an important part in the treatment of chronic diseases. So I think now, till now you have understood what is the reason behind the miasm today in this modern era. History of vaccination taken including anti-rabies and anti-venom is also important. All such antibodies may act as chronic miasms by attacking off-target biological molecules. We have a lot of experiences with cases of kidney failures resulting from anti-rabies vaccinations. Many so-called autoimmune diseases are actually the chronic effects of antibodies formed against exogenous proteins acting as miasm. Miasms are chronic disease dispositions caused by antibodies formed against infectious diseases. The belief that antibodies have only a protective role is not correct. For example, the chronic crippling pains remaining lifelong after chikungunya is caused by antibodies. Can we say antibodies have only protective role here? Definitely not. So now this was all the modern concept about miasm. How we should perceive the miasm in our modern era. If our perception is correct, then only our application is correct. Now I am going to talk about how to apply these miasms in the practice and how fruitful they are. Which three factors form the complete picture of the illnesses? Yes, anybody of you? Do you know which three factors form the complete illness? The first factor is the etiology of the disease. That is, in chronic diseases, obviously miasm, and sometimes in acutes too. The other one is the constitution and temperament of the individual. And the third one is the totality and sign and symptoms of the patient. The importance, why there is importance of pathology? Since the dawn of medical history, there has been a constant scenario for the causes of the acute and chronic diseases that affect the humanity. So we need to understand the etiology behind every disease. As Hahnemann has mentioned this in aphorism 5 and in aphorism 206. And according to him, he divided the miasms into two different categories. One is non-venereal and other is venereal miasm. Sometimes only sora is responsible for diseases and sometimes it can be a complex miasm. To find out the etiology behind disease is important as this is the stage where we can arrest the further development of the diseases. And if we see the constitution, temperament, everything with the eye of miasm, it will be easy for us to perceive the patient and to select the remedy. For example, every miasm has different constitutional roles. Every miasm has different characteristics, temperamental symptoms. Like as far as the physical constitution, SORA tends to make the organism toxic, the skin unhealthy, and perverts the functions of the digestive and eliminative organs. Psychotic tends to cause heavy bones, water retention, overgrowths of tissue, and slow metabolism. Syphilis tends to cause congenital defects, asymmetrical bony structure, deformed teeth, and classic bulldog type of face. Here you can see asymmetry of the face. Pseudosora, that is our tubercular miasm, tends to produce pipe stem bones, narrow chest, sunken cheeks, and sparkling eyes. If you have the knowledge of this particular miasm has particular constitution, it is easy for us to select the remedy. Now let us talk about the constitution as well as temperament. The carbon-nitrogenide constitution is characterized by an excess of carbon and nitrogen. They are equal to SORA. The oxygenide constitution, which is characterized by excess of oxygen, equals to syphilis. And hydrogenide constitution is characterized by excess of hydrogen, equals to Hahnemann's psychosis, as mentioned in the Clark's book. Now let us talk about temperament. The Soric temperament is full of pseudo-scientific philosophy, political and religious ideas. They are self expressive, talkative, self deceptive, and may think they are full of genius, yet seem foolish and impractical to others. Here I would like to share a case of mine. I have a 19 years old male patient who visited me for some skin issue. He had psoriatic patches on his abdomen and here on the hands. When I interrogated him, he said, I stay in Nagpur in my apartment and cannot allow my parents to be there with me as many people from big companies come to consult me in the night. Who comes for official consultancy in the night? Because every official person has his time limit. He further said, my graphic designing is best and hence all the minister want me only to design their websites. Ministers personally keep on calling me to meet, even they send car to pick me up. Why would any minister personally call to a 19 years old boy? At least in India it is impossible. Because they have lot of assistant, their PA, their secretary, who makes all this work. So no minister personally going to call a 19 years old boy. But this is his boasting. Then I talked to family. They said he avoid to be there with the family. Whenever they sit together, he suddenly start talking on phone and says that he got an important call from some VIP. He loves to go to college in a big car. My first diagnosis was braggart and boasting behavior and love for command. So I prescribed him lycopodium. Any homeopath would have done the same thing. Partial cure was there, but I couldn't help him in the skin disorder as well in his grandeur. Then I again talked to the family. I asked them that they must be very much proud of their son as he has lot of VIP contacts in such a small age. Isn't it a big achievement? His father answered, not at all. He said, Doctor, my son is not that much experienced person in this field. He's just a beginner and no minister is calling him. My uncle used to be a politician and since childhood my son saw many VIPs coming, coming to meet my uncle at our home. He stored all their number in his phone and now he feels that he is very smart and behaves like a VIP, but all my family members except me and my wife laugh at him. See, there is a small line of difference between psychosis and sora. In psychosis, patient loves posting and they do it intentionally to show their importance. A show off is an immense character of psychosis. In sora, it happens automatically as they feel themselves important because ability to philosophy is the characteristic of sora. And my friends, in this case, his dominant miasm was sora. It was not psychosis. I was wrong in my first prescription. Finally, sulfatenum cured this case. Then coming to psychosis. Psychosis is very pessimistic, a hard realist, skeptical, and unfortunately very dangerous. Psychosis is very dangerous because psychosis is very dangerous because
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, yes, I'm so sorry. I will check with Dr. Kavita Chandak and get back to you right this moment. Please patiently wait for a minute. Thank you.
Hello, Rashmika, can
Yes,
you see me?
yes, yes. We can hear you. We can see you. We
So,
cannot see the slides. You can upload the seven. You can share
yes,
the.
yes. Okay. No, no. I'm just sharing the screen again. I'm so sorry, friends. It is an internet issue.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So sorry. So where were we? Okay. So I was talking about the constitution. Different constitutions and different temperaments cost a lot. It has a great importance and it makes a great difference in selection of remedy. So we should not neglect any type of miasmatic background in every patient. So you have to develop a different eye to observe the patient. So in this case, I just gave him sulfatenum and finally it worked. So I was talking about syphilitis, myself. Syphilis has a mixture of madness and genius with a deep sense of irony that leads to obsession with death and destruction. They become guilty, self destructive, and end in the idiocy, insanity, or suicide. Tubercular miasm is quite romantic, erotic, social, extroverted, cosmopolitan, erratic, optimistic, yet dissatisfied and always wants to make changes in the place, jobs, mates, everything. It is like a running water. Behta hua pani. Miasm represents the past and present and future. The past is represented in the terms of the layers of suppression and their removal. You get to know the layer which has been suppressed and you know how to evolve the miasm for that. The present is represented by the removal of these layers, which leads to the clear assessment to the totality of symptoms. And the future is represented where the patient becomes stronger as a whole and is able to resist morbific influences. For example, if any patient is visiting you for asthma, and as we all know that asthma is always psychotic miasm. So we usually choose the antipsychotic remedies like antimtat, phosphorus, natrum sulfate, and lobelia. But if you come to know that your asthma patient is suffering from asthma just because of in the past he has suppressed the eczema, then your remedy will definitely change and this time your remedy will be sulfur. So if you have understood that there was a layer of sora behind this psychosis, then you know that you have to evolve the layer of this sora and then only you can treat the patient with the permanent cure, not the recovery. See, I am not talking about recovery. Recovery is just a temporary restoration of health and cure is the permanent restoration of health. So we go for cure, we don't go for recovery. What made Hahnemann to discover miasm? For 12 years, Hahnemann quietly searched for the fundamental cause of chronic diseases that was slowly destroying the health of his patients. During this entire period, his practice of homeopathy was based on the similarity principle with crude doses in the beginning, diluted doses in the second stage, and potentized doses in the latter years of the practice. Even then, the majority of chronic diseases, which improved at the first, frequently came back. Patients improved with a similar medicine, but after some time, the disease recurred in the same or different form. He inquired for the reason for it. This inquiry led Hahnemann to discovery of the chronic diseases. During the period of 1816 to 17, Hahnemann reviewed all his earlier case records and arranged them in the systematic inductive process as suggested by Bacon. He found some threads of commonalities in all the cases and then he understood that there is something common in all the cases and in this way he discovered the miasm syphilis. During Hahnemann's period, syphilis was very rampant. Patients with different diseases had symptoms similar to syphilis. So he concluded that syphilis is not a single entity but can also influence the human constitution in the creation of a variety of diseases which he called syphilitic miasm. Later on, he discovered psychotic miasm in the same way. Finally, he came to the conclusion that there is something prior to psychosis and syphilis, and that was the soric miasm. And all his discovery happened in just a short period of 25 years. Now let us discuss the materia medica of syphilitic drug picture. All syphilitic remedies types have an obsessional tendency. The most commonly seen in the fastidiousness of arsenicum and the most well-known mental picture of syphilinum is usually the compulsion to wash. There is usually a sense of contamination and fear of germ, and this drives the person to wash her hands tens or 100 times per day. After shaking hands with you, she may feel contaminated and cannot relax until she has washed her hands. Given the origin of the nosode, it seems somehow fitting that syphilinum individuals often have a fear of contamination. Common obsession of syphilinum is a tendency to collect things and then place them in an orderly arrangement. Most of the syphilinum people have a fine appreciation for beauty and also a tendency to collect the things. But their appreciation of beauty or their desire of beauty is little bit weird. In this painting, you can see this is a beautiful painting, no doubt. But there are different color of two eyes. Or you can see something weird here in this painting. Syphilitic patients like this type of paintings. One of the characteristic feature of syphilinum is a tendency to be self-destructive, to harm oneself. It is more often to a kind of stoicism or neglect. One syphilinum woman endured an abusive relationship with a man for years, in which he did not allow her to go out of the house. She was ordered to stay and wait for him, and she did so. She even gave up her promising career as an artist to be with him. When I asked her why she did so, she could only reply that she loved him. She said, if it is written in the destiny, it has to happen. This tendency is known as fatalistic behavior or nihilistic attitude. And for that, we have the remedy syphilinum as well nitric acid. Friends, nitric acid is a strong syphilitic remedy. We usually think that it works on the warts, that's why it is psychotic, but it is a syphilitic remedy. Syphilinum's fascination with death is sometimes reflected in her dreams. Some syphilinums have something of a sadistic streak in that they enjoy watching animals die and will find themselves stepping on insects or putting them in water and watching them drop mentally. The patient with the syphilitic miasm will openly or veiled manner be prepared for violence in his reactions to family and to society. In our patient, we recognize bitterness and resentfulness, especially when long-standing hatred, the desire to kill or to commit suicide, to destroy, wickedness, fury, and rage, whether concealed or ready to explode. They love to torture people. Bread, a psychological thriller movie about three young women. This is a movie. I'm just giving you idea about it. There were three young women, Daphne, Tilda, and Petula, who have been friends since girlhood. Daphne expects her friend to play the same game they played as girls, where she is the domineering mother, Tilda is the child, and Petula is the visiting doctor. And there are ironclad rules that have to be followed, including no one leaves. It means nobody can leave the game, nobody can go out of the home. They are locked in one home, and no outsiders allowed. It is like a big boss house. Now I'm going to show you a movie clip. Just see and just observe Tilda. She has joy in the cruelty. Just observe her smile after she has done with the cruelty.
Don't be scared. Rule number 1. Everyone must play. Perfectly healthy.
No! Thank goodness! Oh, darling, what do we say to the dog?
Did you observe the joy in the cruelty? We have the remedy anacardium in such conditions. Anacardium has a joy in cruelty. They usually pull or tear the legs of the insect. They put boiling water on the insect. And when you ask them, they just smile. They smile because they feel joy in the cruelty. The syphilitic miasm is a destructive one. On the physical level, it manifests as ulceration, wasting, and congenital malformations. On the psychological level, it can produce madness of various kinds. They have fixed ideas. The mental defects, such as contempt for others, blind, unbridled jealousy, or to torture others, are their characteristic features. Depression. They report a sense of emptiness as if they were in a wasteland and a sense that their life will never get better. And that's why we have this rubric despair of recovery, indifferent, no delight in anything in the repertoire. The morbid manifestation with death of the more classic syphilinum personality combined with the characteristics white complex and pointed teeth. Sometimes you feel that you are looking at a vampire. Psychic and hallucinatory tendencies tend to make the mind less stable, and this results in some syphilinum people fearing for their sanity. It also can produce a general fearfulness that appears as free floating anxiety. Many syphilinum people appear meek and rather passive in company, yet they have a wild side which comes out when they drink alcohol and also during sex. The classic rubric of a strong craving for alcohol, longing for strong drink. And if you will search this rubric in repertory, you will get all the antisyphilitic remedies. The physic is generally very thin and the complexion is very pale. There is usually some abnormality in teeth, most commonly taking the form of pointed teeth or saw-toothed as it is called. Suicidal impulse is a strong feature of the syphilinum. See this type of constitution they have, or this type of asymmetrical face they have. Some syphilinums usually look normal physically, but they are abnormal mentally. Now you are going to watch a very beautiful clip of video in which this girl is looking physically normal, but see the abnormality and see what she is eating her breakfast. She is eating the human eyes in her breakfast. There is no beard, but still she is shaving. Now let me talk about detail about miasm syphilis. Those remedies that correspond to mentally disturbed personality types, such as trimonium, hyoscyamus, anacardium, belong in the main to the syphilitic miasm. Generalities and tissue affected. In syphilis, we can see changes from functional to structural level. There will be different types of manifestation, destruction, deformation, coppery eruption, and ulceration. The disorders of glands, bones, and blood vessels cause more pathological changes. Functional symptoms like pains with extreme intensity usually go for syphilis. Pain which drives the patient out of the bed. Any type of pain which goes beyond the threshold of the tolerance comes under the syphilitic miasm. In any condition, when the patient says, I cannot tolerate the pain, the severity itself says about the miasm, and it is always syphilitic. Many syphilinums are prone to psychic experiences, such as precognition and out-of-body experiences, and also to the hallucination. Oh, I think so sorry for this video. It's not playing right now, but I will explain you. This is a lady who visited me for infertility, and she said that I have a different dream in which I always fly away from my body, and I can see my body and my husband, they are lying on the bed. And whenever I am above all of them, one white feather covers me, and I feel immense peace there. And I love that peace. So I just want to sleep all the time so that I can get this dream again and again. But actually, this is not a dream. This is a sense of precognition where she usually feels the other feeling that she said, whenever I see a dream that I am getting from my bed and I am falling down as soon as I am getting from my bed. And as soon as I get up from my sleep, I just get down from the bed and I fall down. So it is not a dream. Actually, it is the precognition of the condition. It is the sense of out of from the body. We have various plant remedies for that, especially the Apicaceae family. All the remedies, plant remedies which are in the Apicaceae family, they are not grounded patient. They always has this sensation that they are out of the body. We have conium, we have sanicula, we have ethusa in this family, Apicaceae. Just take some time and read this family. I couldn't play this video because last moment patient didn't give me the consent to play her video. That's why I explained her condition to you. Now let us talk about the journey of syphilis. After an impure poison, the chancre appears in the place first infected during the incubation period of 7 to 14 days. Appears first as a little pustule which changes into an impure ulcer with red raised borders and stinging lesions. This ulcer is infected and spreads to the intestine and eventually reaches the kidney.
I am sorry, just give us yeah, I am so sorry. Just give us 2 minutes. She will come right back. She's having a little network technical issue. So just bear with us for 2 more minutes. Will it be possible to get the recording of this video so I can watch it later? Okay. Definitely, we will be uploading. We are recording this video. We will be uploading it in our I Love Homeopathy platform. Once we upload it, we will definitely know. We will definitely inform everyone who has joined here today, and you can watch the recording again. I hope you are having a good session today. You can also start posting questions if you have any, so that I shall direct it towards Dr. Kavita Chandak at the end of the session, and we can have a good interactive session there. You can post it in the chat also instead of the Q&A session. Will you email it as well? No, because we won't be able to individually email it because this session was not registered. Like, we didn't have a proper registration before you joined. We just gave you the link for the session to join. So we don't have your email ID for us to send you a separate email. But this is my email ID. I shall put my email ID down below. This is my email ID, and you can contact me. Yeah, this is my email ID here. You can contact me immediately. I mean, you can contact me regarding this webinar also, or the future or the previous webinars. I would be definitely able to guide you and handle you. We must have a longer webinar on this subject. Definitely agreed. Miasm is such a vast subject, and if any long seminar is not just enough to justify miasms, because so many how do I say, so many cases to discuss, so many inputs to discuss. 1 second. Hello. So yes, we will definitely have a better and bigger session. I hope everyone joins. Yes, that's my email ID, so you can all contact. Doctor, are you
Yes,
being
yes.
share your screen?
I'm back, Rashmika. I'm so sorry, friends, because of
No
internet issue.
worries, no
I'm
worries, no
sorry.
worries at all.
Rashmika, please allow me to share the screen.
Yes, yes, immediately, immediately. Yes, I have given you the this thing. So you,
But still, it is showing host disabled participant screen
no,
sharing.
I have now.
Now it
Yeah.
is possible. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for patiently waiting, and back to Dr. Kavita Chandak.
I'm so sorry, friends, because see, I am just a homeopath. I am not the technical doctor. Can't help this. So, friends, we are here back. So, my suggestion is that not to remove the boo or don't suppress anything in your body and don't allow patient to suppress anything because it will turn into major disorder. Dr. Hahnemann directs us to treat the syphilis infected patients with chancre or the bubo in the first simple state by the minor doses of best mercury remedy in order to cure thoroughly and forever the whole syphilis with its chancre. Within 14 days, he used to apply mercurius remedy, and after him we have got another great anti-syphilitic remedy, that is syphilinum. Syphilinum came in the picture after Hahnemann's era. Now, let us talk about the sensation and complaints in general. Slow healing, perspiration offensive, aversion to meat, marasmus, bone affection, periosteal pains are the some common symptoms of syphilitic miasm. If the patient has burning in the palms and soles, it is definitely psoriatic miasm. But if the burning sensation in the palms and soles is unbearable and it drives the patient out of the bed, that comes under syphilis. It also has the tendency to develop weak joints, easy sprains, and glandular affections. What are the causative modalities behind syphilitic disorders? Suppression of abnormal discharges. See, whenever you suppress abnormal discharges, syphilis becomes prominent. And how they get general aggravation? During rest or after rest, extremes of heat and cold, and from natural elimination like sweat, stool. See, this is the some ironic statement with this miasm that they feel better after they feel aggravation after the elimination of natural discharges, and Sora feels better after the elimination of natural discharges. Understand? General amelioration is constant and continuous movement relieves. Pains are relieved by cold application. Pathological eliminations relieve the pain and other sufferings of the patient. See, pathological eliminations like earth. Suppose if earth has syphilitic tendency, then this volcano is the pathological elimination of the earth, and earth is feeling better by throwing this explosion. Same with this syphilitic miasm. Head. They particularly have the basilar headache, which starts usually aggravation takes place in the night advances and also with the application. They feels better at the morning approaches and still better as the day advances because there is a night aggravation, and this is a classical typical syphilitic headache. If the patient says that they have the basilar headache aggravating at night and better with the sunrise. There is a aversion to meat is a characteristic symptom of syphilitic miasm. Desire for sweet goes for psoriatic and tubercular trait. Craving is almost same for psora and tubercular. Many structural changes, especially of bony structure in the form of degeneration in the ears, is the major manifestation of syphilis. See, usually syphilis has his favorite site as ear, And that's why whenever any mother complains that her child cries in the night and she doesn't understand the reason, we give the remedy Merc salt to the patient. Merc salt go and treat any type of degeneration or pain in the ear, because maybe the child is suffering from the earache. So always we give Merc salt, and just within 2 days or 3 days, mother reports us that now her child is better and is sleeping well. Then about eye and vision. Syphilitic miasm has a strong action on the ciliary bodies, lacrimal apparatus, and ciliary neuralgias. So if you have any type of structural changes in the eye, then we can consider the syphilitic miasm as working behind it. And we have few remedies. I have a patient of retinitis pigmentosa whom I cured with the help of ultimately human sarcode, human eye retina. This remedy is available in Europe, and it was a completely syphilitic case, but now I am getting good result in such patients. Then about nose and smell. Thick crust is a characteristic of syphilitic miasm irrespective of the diagnosis. Snuffles of the children, which aggravates at night, and ulceration with thick crust is the syphilitic miasm. Caries of nasal bone, hay fever, and lupus are usually seen with the syphilitic miasms. You can see these eruptions, tertiary syphilitic eruption on the face. It is the characteristic symptom in the hay fever when there is sneezing is associated along with this type of rashes. And usually this happens at the weather change. Syphilitic face is a grayish and greasy appearance. Deep fissures, seas on lips and mucocutaneous junctions are the characteristics of syphilitic miasm. We have a particular characteristic symptom in nitramure. They develop this type of cuts and fissures before fever. But if aggravation is there only before fever, then it is nitramure remedy. Again, the syphilitic part of nitramure. Imperfect face of a child resembles that of an old man is again syphilitic. Imperfect face, asymmetrical face, precocity is the characteristic features of syphilitic miasm. Malnutrition is always syphilitic. We can see that miasmatic expressions are not only decided by the internal factors, but external factors also are equally relevant on many occasions. Hence, miasmatic expressions are multifactorial. All the time, we cannot blame our genetics that genetics has given us the syphilis or psychosis or SORA. No, our environmental factors, our lifestyle is also responsible, which miasm you are going to acquire from your lifestyle and from your environment. Mouth and gums. Pathological changes in the teeth and dental arches and high arch palate are fundamentally syphilitic. Any congenital anomaly in oral cavity and floral of mouth are basically syphilitic. And that's why we have the patient cleft palate. You know, cleft palate, patient hair lip patient. Syphilis has typical metallic or coppery taste in the mouth, and they crave for cold drink, icy cold drink, and food. Exhausting and debilitating diarrhea is most important in syphilis. If it is debilitating, the patient gets exhausted and their threshold to tolerance is finished, or within one or two stools, patient is fainting, then it is definitely syphilitic diarrhea. Because in soric diarrhea, patient even have 4 5 stools or 8 stools, still the patient's energy level is better as compared to the syphilitic miasm. In urinary symptoms, usually we get the fibrosis of kidney in syphilitic miasm. Chest and lung, one or two distinct barks of dog in the cough is typical syphilitic cough. Like patient always coughs like this. You won't get long paroxysm like this. No. One or two dog-like barking cough is always there in the syphilina. And you know, for such condition, we use the remedy lysinum. Lysinum is again a nosode which we prepare from the saliva of the dog. Then pathology of heart. If there is congenital heart anomaly, it is always under the syphilitic miasm. Thick heavy scales and crust on the skin with glandular affection. They are always under the skin or syphilitic miasm. I had a patient few years back. She used to develop different glands in her axilla. If I give her remedy, one gland used to disappear, but second gland was there. So there was always recurrence of the glands and with eruptions on the skin, and it was very painful. So I gave her Syphilinum tenum at the end of the session, and finally we got the result after Syphilinum tenum. Before that, I gave her Sora, Cilicia, Hiparsulf in high potency, but it did not work. Even I prescribed her Anthracite. Anthracite is also a good remedy with syphilitic background, but it is a no-so. You can use in your practice with the skin disorders. Then scar formation is always syphilitic. So if any patient is consulting you after burn, surgery after burn or any type of surgery, and if you just want to prevent the scar formation or keloid formation, use the remedy Thiocyaninum 3x. Give 2 tablets morning evening, your patient will never develop this scar. It is my practical clinical experience. Now it has grinding and boring pains in periosteum of long bones of upper and lower extremity. Pain worse at night and during change of weather. Usually patient comes and tell you, डॉक्टर मैं रात में सोती हूँ ना तो मेरा ये जो पैर का लंबा बोन है ना मेरी टांग पूरी दुखती है ऐसा लगता है मेरी हड्डी फटने वाली है. This is the syphilitic presentation of the patient. So think about this miasm and select a remedy which covers syphilitic miasm. They easily drops the thing. It is their muscular or neurological weakness. Anything regarding heart tissue, whether vertebral column, long bones, nails or tooth, basic miasm is always syphilitic. So naturally tubercular miasm will come there. Because what is tubercular? It is a mixture of syphilis and psoric miasm. The pathology, delayed milestones, slurred speech, etc. can be put even under purely syphilitic miasm. Whenever you have such pathology, like we have many remedies for delayed milestone, we have Baratacard, we have agaricus mumps. So all these remedies, usually they cover the syphilitic background. And whenever you take the history of mother, it will confirm their syphilitic miasm. Whenever any child approaching you for cleft palate or hair lip, always the miasm is syphilis. Now let me discuss the mentals of syphilitic miasm. They are really very important. The syphilitic mind is generally dull, stubborn, morose, having guilt complexes and fixed ideas. They are also incomprehending. Their anger leads to violence. Destructive violence indicates syphilitic miasm. Suicidal thoughts and tendencies are present in syphilitic miasm. They are very obstinate, anxious, depressed, and impulsive. That's why OCD is always under syphilitic miasm. Syphilitic miasm is not always dull. Some are extremely intelligent. Great perversion is there. You know about Salvador Dali? He was a Spanish artist and the world knows him. He was a great artist. But he was highly imaginative and also enjoyed indulging in unusual and grandiose behavior. His eccentric manner and attention-grabbing public actions sometimes drew more attention than his artworks. His everything was very grotesque. You can see here. This is Salvador Dali at home. You see, he used to love his mustache in a different form. Any normal person may not keep the mustache like this. Bizarre and grotesque behavior. This is his painting and he gave the name to the painting, Dali the Great Masturbator. Who will do this except the syphilitic miasmatic patient? Delusion that he is a great person. Grandiosity is always syphilitic. That's why whenever you have a patient of paranoid schizophrenia, think about anti-syphilitic remedies. Salvador Dali was famous for having said that every morning upon awaking, I experience a supreme pleasure, that being Salvador Dali. He said, when you are a genius, you do not have the right to die because we are necessary for the progress of the humanity. C is grandiosity. Syphilitic miasm, they seem have to only one emotion, urge for destruction. They have great escapism. Forgetfulness is syphilitic. The mind is slow. Syphilitic fears are not properly manifested due to lack of realization and expression. They feel the fear, but they are not able to express it thoroughly. They are very cruel, destructive, and perverted and may harm to themselves and others. That's why whenever we have the self-injurious behavior or homi-injurious behavior in the cases of autism too, we use the anti-syphilitic remedies in high potency. Syphilitic patients have perverted sex. They usually, whenever you have any couple or any man who is consulting you and is saying that I get pleasure in anal sex or in oral sex more than in vaginal sex, then you can think about syphilitic miasm. And nowadays, lesbianism or gay, this is again syphilitic. Though it is legal now, but it is a syphilitic miasm because gradually we are going in the destruction. We are going against the nature. Man is made for woman, woman is made for man. But when man is doing sex with man or woman is doing sex with woman, we are going against nature. We are landing in syphilitic ourselves. Nowadays, where our girls are getting menarche at the age of 10 or 10 and a half. This is again the syphilitic things. There is a tendency to suppress and conceal. Their own idiocy, ignorance, and obstinacy lead to melancholia and gloominess with desire for solitude. Though they are silent patient, they are gloomy, they are nervous, but don't trust them because they can be a criminal inside. They just look silent from outside, but we can say that ये तो तूफान के पहले वाली शांति है. एक बहुत बड़ा तूफान उस शांत चेहरे के पीछे में छुपा है. Now, summary of syphilitic miasm. Syphilis miasm of ancient times and pathogens of venereal diseases of today and trypanosoma, spirochete, pallidum are synonyms. These pathogens mainly create destruction and perversions in the organism, leading the patient towards destruction. Hence, it is called as destructive miasm. Syphilis produces destructive disorder everywhere, mentally and physically. Syphilis mainly develops the virulent open ulcers. Perversion of the functions, spasms, ulcers, degeneration of the tissues, burning passions, homicide, and wickedness generally are due to syphilis. This miasm corresponds to the red color of blood and of the consuming fire. It is mentioned in the book of P.S. Ortega. Here are few top grade anti-syphilitic remedies. They are arsenic iode. I am using arsenic iode in various cancer cases just to support the liver as an organ remedy. Aurum nitronitrum has syphilitic background. That's why we use this remedy in various cases of infertility, where we get various abortions and patient is not able to conceive. Carboanamines, it is a good remedy when you have menorrhagia and it is not responding to any remedy, then go for carboanamines. It is a syphilitic remedy which may help you in menorrhagia and metrorrhagia. Then we have Calisulf, carcinosin, Merc iode flavum, which is a perfect remedy for vitiligo patients. Then we have Merc iode rubrum, Merc salt, all types of Mercs are always syphilitic. Then we have nitric acid, Phytolica, Cilicia, Syphilina, and tuberculin. So this is all about the my small presentation about syphilis. See friends, miasm is a vast chapter. I may not explain it in just 1 hour, but I tried my level best to simplify it in a simple language for this presentation so that you can get a broad idea of syphilis, so that you can apply it in your practice. We may need few more sessions for understanding of different miasms too. Now, please be ready because the miasm was about syphilitic miasm. So I am gonna say to thank you to all of you in a syphilitic way. This is my syphilitic thank you. Thank you friends. Thank you for your patience listening. If you have any queries, Please, you can ask me anytime. I am here. Now I am just going to stop my screen sharing, and Rashmika will take over. Thank you, everyone.
That was a lovely session. I think the ending was, hitting the nail to the box kind of Michael Scott session.
Yes.
That was lovely. When you had actually had a few technical issues, I had already asked a few people, because what happens is, after a session gets over, people take in, a few seconds to, take in the whole
Yes.
session, and
Yeah.
then, the questions come in late. So when we had the technical issue, I had already told them to give in a few questions. So we have a few questions. I will just read them out.
Okay.
Heard 50 millisieverts are confusing when it comes to nosodes like syphilis and medurinum. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, but see, today's topic is not about any type of potency, but still I will throw some light for you people. Potency or medicine has nothing to do if you select the perfect remedy. First thing. Second, potency definitely work. It is the soul of the remedy, but you should not get confused because it is up to you. Your patient is sitting in front of you, and if you strongly feel that your remedy is correct and you want to apply the 50 millisiemens remedy to the nosode even, you can go ahead. Because practically when you are sitting in your chamber, your patient is sitting in front of you. At that time, nobody is going to whisper in your ears to prompt you that this potency is good in this case. Nobody will come to prompt you. Not Hanuman, not Ken, not Kavita Chandak, not Karthik, not Rashmika. Nothing. So you have to take your decision. You have the all the authority to take your decision, and you can go with any potency, friends. Don't get
100%.
confused. Yeah.
100%. Do miasms change when the infant transfer to adult and adult to an older person?
Yeah, miasm changes all the time. See, we every person has all the complex miasm every time in our body. But according to current scenario or according to present situation, one miasm becomes dominant. Like it is very simple. See, I just give a simple example. We all have all types of kingdoms inside our body because we all are made up of the panchatattva. So we have few symptoms of plant kingdom, we have few symptoms of animal, few symptoms of mineral. Everything we have inside our body. Like that, we have all the miasms in our body, always present. But according to every situation, one miasm become dominant. So not the question should be like this: is in every different situation the miasm changes? Yes, not the adulthood or not according to the infancy of the child. No, it changes according to every situation. Maybe today I am Sora, I have a lot of ambitions and I am working well, but maybe tomorrow I can be syphilis because whenever I will achieve everything. See, today, for example, suppose a person wants anything in his life and is working hard, he is planning the things. It is Sora. When the ambitions becomes higher, he develops the ambition that I want this and this without any need. He has fulfilled his need now, but still he wants little more. It is psychosis. But if he have everything, he is multimillionaire, and still he is torturing the other people, going to every level, going to the bottom of the level in his life to take more money from the people. He is just torturing other people to make the money. Then it is syphilitic.
Syphilis.
Understand? This is the difference between the mice.
Okay, what if the patient is having keloid and not getting result after his second plastic surgery? Keloids on the sternum.
See, plastic surgery is not the answer for keloid because it is a tendency. We have to remove the tendency. That's why we have to work on the miasm of the patient. Of course, keloid has psychosyphilitic miasm in its background. So please select the remedy according to the constitution of the patient, which must cover the psychosyphilitic background. Select your potency according to it, and if possible, go with the nosode. You will get the result. And in my presentation, I suggested you for the keloid, go with the thiocyaninum 3x potency. 2 tablets morning, evening, along with your constitutional remedy. It will help to your patient. Plastic surgery is never the answer for anything.
Very clear.
It is like a tendency. See, I have a lot of patients. They consult me once they removed the kidney stones, or they operated for piles, and later on they come to the homeopathy and they get operated for piles for 5 6 times, or they done the lithotripsy once in their life. So I just ask the patient, dear patient, you removed kidney stones surgically for one time. If they will develop again, are you going to open your kidney again and again? You develop piles 4 5 times in your life, and you operated it 4 5 times. But how many times you are going to pay your money to the pile specialist? Because this building is having all the bricks from your money. So give some money to me. I also have to build a building. And then I suggest the patient that it is a tendency, friends. We need to cut down the tendency. We are not going to treat the symptoms. We are going to treat the patient. We are going to cut down his tendency for the permanent restoration of the health. And that is the cure. It is not the recovery. Understand? Plastic surgery did the recovery. Homeopathy do the cure. That's why we are great pillows.
That's very true. Like rightly said. For your previous question, where you said that the miasms changes, Dr. Kasturi Ranjan had asked, does miasms changes so dynamically?
Mhm. Not actually dynamically. See, our personality itself is a dynamic, isn't it? Human being itself is a dynamic creation of the God. When we have everything dynamic, that's why homeopathy prepared the dynamization method. Homeopathy follows the dynamization method, and hence we use the potentized remedies in our medicines, isn't it? We need to potentize them, we need to dynamize them, because they should make the dynamization of our being human. It is the nature who made us dynamized already. So if miasms changes dynamically, it is normal thing, doctor. It is nothing new. And it doesn't need that you need to change the remedy frequently. If you are confirmed with your miasm and with your remedy, go ahead with the same remedy. Give some time to the patient to make or to manage the change in his life, to set himself with this change of the life. Sometimes only counseling can help. You do not need to change or put remedy all the time.
Dr. Seema has asked what medicine we should use if mixed miasms like psychosis plus syphilis. Should use syphilitic medicine or psychotic? I'm sorry, anti-syphilitic or anti-psychotic, Dr. Seema?
Very nice question. Actually, I was expecting this question. When this type of patient approaches us, and we know that it is a multimiasmatic case, now how to start in these cases? If you have psychotic, syphilitic, and soric, three miasms in one case, then my dear friend, always first give the antisoric remedy to the patient, because you have to touch the back, you have to touch the root of the disorder, and it is always soric. Because during my presentation, I told one thing, that when Hahnemann discovered syphilis and psychosis, later on he came to understand that there is something behind even psychosis and syphilis, and that was sora, and that is how the sora got discovered. So in such cases, always go with first antisoric remedy, then decide which miasm is secondary prevailing in the patient, which is the dominant second miasm. If it is syphilitic dominant miasm, second miasm, then go with antisyphilitic. If it is psychosis is the dominant miasm, then go with the antipsychotic. So your remedy, second remedy, will be according to the dominant miasm. And again later on, in the end of the treatment, you need to give again antisoric remedy in high potency, to just to save the changes which you have done in your patient. So it will, the data will get stored as we make the presentation and we save it. If we won't save it, it will get deleted. So we need the sora button to save the changes, positive changes which we created in our patient's body. Clear?
Priyanka Madan, ma'am, please tell again the medicine for prevention for scar. Thank you.
This is should I type it in the chat box? I think that will help you.
Yes, sir. Meanwhile, what is a good book to read on the description for miasms?
I always suggest Ortega. First is Ortega, second is Clark,
Yeah.
and Allen is also a good book.
Yeah.
Hmm? So see, everything is already mentioned in Organon. If
Yes.
you will read the sixth edition of Organon, theoretical part as well as practical part, you will learn all the miasms from there only. Because Ortega, Clark, Allen, or Herring, whoever came, they came after
After.
Hahnemann only. Hahnemann was there in the beginning. Any more questions?
One second. Okay, there's a huge question. Yeah, by Dr. Leonardo Lara.
Mm-hmm.
You are not in
I
one miasm
Yes,
in a
sir.
moment or in your life. If your representation show you two miasms, I believe you can use two miasms, but not at the same time. What do you think?
See, I can think my suggestion is that Dr. Lara Leonardo, my suggestion is that you should use such remedy which can cover both the miasm. And sometimes, see, it is up to you, my dear friend, that you either you can choose, go with unicism or pluralism. See, it is not necessary that you can prescribe only one remedy at one time to the patient. If you feel that your patient, like in cases of ADHD and infertility and autism, I prescribe my patients one remedy in the morning and second remedy in the evening, because sometimes we need to cover all the patients. In cases of cancers, I prescribe 3 or 4 remedies per day, because one remedy is already my anti-miasmatic remedy, second remedy is to support the organ, and third remedy is to remove the side effect of chemo and radio, and fourth remedy can be your constitutional remedy, which you can plan once in a 15 days. So sometimes you can prescribe 2 3 remedies, sometimes you can prescribe one remedies. And if your repetization shows two miasm at one time, either you can choose the remedy covering two miasms, or you can choose different two remedies and prescribe at another time. But don't give at one time two remedies. Follow monopharmacy. Give one remedy in the morning, at least maintain 4 hours gap between two remedies.
Right. RT can we can give sulfur in antisoric and syphilinum in antisyphilitic miasm.
Of course, you can give. In fact, you can give sulfur in antisyphilitic miasm also, and syphilinum in anti-sulfur, antisoric patient also. Because all the major remedies, medorinum, sulfur, tuberculinum, and syphilinum, are complex miasmatic remedies. They cover all the miasm. So whenever I feel, recently I delivered a webinar about nosode and sarcode, and I showed a case of gynecomastia along with psoriasis and obesity was there. And I gave this patient medorinum in 10 pound. Though the mother has syphilitic tendency, her first pregnancy was aborted because no heartbeat was there in the fetus. Second got aborted again because of her syphilitic miasm, and from the third pregnancy she delivered this child. And I gave her this patient medorinum 10 because I felt that the case demands medorinum. I gave and I got good result. One delegate asked me why medorinum when you got the syphilitic miasm in the background of the mother. But it doesn't mean that to cover the syphilitic background we need to prescribe syphilinum only. We can prescribe any type of nosol which can cover all the miasmatic backgrounds. Isn't it? Anything else, friends?
So ideally, constitutional remedy should be based on miasm, or can you address acute also by Kasturi Rangan?
Yeah, see, you can address acute remedies with miasm if you have the time for case taking. Suppose patient is approaching you with severe dyspnea. At that time, we do not think about miasm. We immediately give some remedy. If patient has any panic attack, so we don't get the time for history. We just immediately give patient the aconite. But see, here make a difference. If you know the patient already, he is your known patient, and if is there any type of attack of fear or elements from fear or panic attack is there, and you know that patient is not that much lively or cheerful patient, is little bit type of dumb and dull patient and slow constitution, don't don't prescribe aconite. It won't work as even as acute. Because if you know that your patient has a slow constitution, sluggish constitution, this time your medicine is opium, because you are picking up the rubric ailments from fright and fear, but you are not going to prescribe aconite. You are going to prescribe opium
Okay.
because you know the patient already. But if you do not know the patient already, there is no time to apply the miasm or to apply nozzle or to apply anything. Just address the acute complaint, whatever the patient has. Just relieve the acute complaint, and later on, if you have the time and patient allows you, then you can take the history and consider the measure for so that you can avoid the relapse in the same condition.
I am sorry, Saifullah Irshad. I didn't understand your question. Two or three remedies used, please, in which aphorism?
See, it is not given in the aphorism. It is a part of clinical practice, first thing. Second thing, Hahnemann never said or never wrote anywhere that you should go with single remedy. Where it is mentioned, it is not mentioned. Even Hahnemann, if you will read his letters in the last days he wrote to Boningerson, it is preserved in the Robert Bosch Institute at Stuttgart in Germany right now. They are in the Germany and they make the translation for you. If you visit there sometime in your life, you will understand that even Hahnemann didn't use only a single remedy. Even Boningerson didn't use. See, it is our myth that we compel people or we boast that we are using single remedy. If we are using single remedy, yes, with the classical practice I am also doing the same thing, but I do repeat my remedy at every 15 days if I feel that. Because now in this modern era, patient is suffering from all other things. His lifestyle has been changed. He is putting perfume on his body, he is eating all types of spices, he is not going to follow all the instructions which were mentioned previously in the organelle. Hahnemann mentioned that you should not allow the patient to put the perfume. If you will suggest your patient not to put the perfume or do not eat spices, he will change his doctor, but he won't change his lifestyle. So you have to make a pace with your patient's lifestyle. And I am practicing since 20 years, giving good results to all my patients since 20 years with the lifestyle. Even I don't suggest Rashmika not to take coffee or anything. There is one video about the myths of homeopathy on my YouTube channel. I'm just requesting all the delegates to please subscribe my YouTube channel. Its name is Dr. Kavita Chandak. You will get a lot of informative videos there. And please don't forget to see this video, Myths About Homeopathy. You will get your answer over there. How patients are saying that we cannot drink coffee, or see, these all are myths. These all are myths. So you can prescribe one remedy, you can prescribe two or three remedies for the speedy recovery. Because with constitutional remedy, you need to prescribe Nozod or Sarcot to speed up the case. They are homeopathic catalysts. I think there is one more question, Rishmika.
Yeah, I am just posting your YouTube link to the.
Okay. Okay, that I will type, no problem.
That's okay. I
Ah, that's
posted the
good.
YouTube
Ah,
link.
you posted. Thank you.
I had read that wrong medicine can alter miasm, but can we reverse it? Then, is there any ideal healthy miasm?
I have read that wrong medicine can alter medicine, but can we reverse? Of course, we can reverse. Because see, if something can alter the miasm, we can re-alter it. And then is there an ideal healthy miasm? Every miasm is healthy, my friend, because miasms are, though they are the predisposing factors behind every disease, but still we can consider them healthy because they are giving you the power to interact with your surrounding. They are arousing your immunity to react to the surrounding. See, there is a great secret in my practice. I observed one thing, that the patient who is approaching you for diabetes or cancer, usually they say one line, Doctor, I never suffered from cough, cold, or tonsillitis or fever throughout my life. I don't know how I landed in diabetes or cancer. Then my answer is that if you would have suffered throughout your life from simple cough, cold, or environmental changes, if your immunity has responded to these environmental changes or weather changes, it it was a good thing that today you won't be landed in the diabetes or cancer. You landed in this major disorder because your immunity has not responded to the simple environmental changes. So if your immunity is working good, the miasm are making your immunity to respond to the weather change. Isn't it ideal, my friends? Everything is good in your life, but it is up to us that how we perceive it. Because see, there is a glass half filled. It is up to you which part you are going to see, whether
100%.
it is half filled or whether it is half empty. It is up to you.
100%. It is up to our perspective of what we see and how we
Yes,
see this thing.
yes.
That's 100%.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Me, Mr. Karthik. Uh,
Hi,
yes.
Karthik.
Hello, Kavita. How are you?
I'm fine. Today we missed you.
Yeah, no, I couldn't join you when you started, so I told her I'll join you when you finished.
Okay.
But I was listening right through.
Mm-hmm.
I especially enjoyed the part where you said the different parts of your life form uh, different miasms.
Yes, that's true.
So this is the first time I heard this, and that was thanks to you. I learned something today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to you, you gave me this platform to share my views.
No, no, not at all. We are happy you're using it, and also want to thank all our attendees for coming in. And we hope to see you more often. And this is a short. I mean, this is very short time to explain miasms.
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
It is my
So
3 day school, Karthik. You know, in
no,
Poland, I am delivering these 3 day schools, and in 3 days, I am covering four miasms with various video clips. Almost, I have more than 600 video clips in this miasm session.
my God.
Because without audio visual presentation, you are not going to learn miasm.
I
I
was just
required
about to
6 years to learn miasm.
My
I
God.
read miasm for 6 years, then I could understand what is miasm. And now really getting good results with miasmatic practice.
Right. So thank you very much, Dr. Kavita, for sharing this and encouraging people to look at the miasmatic approach as well when they go for a long-standing case.
Thank you everyone. Thank you Karthik and thank you Rashmika for hosting me today. Thank you so much.
It's a
And good night
pleasure.
everyone.
Always a
And
pleasure.
if there are any more questions, you can mail to Rashmika or Karthik or you can directly mail to me. If you
Yes.
have my mail ID, I will definitely answer. Maybe it takes 2-3 days, but I always respond to everyone. Thank you so much.
She takes 2-3 minutes, not 2-3 days.
That is for you, Karthik.
That's
Okay,
how
yes,
experience
yes,
speaks. That's
All
how
right.
actually experience has to speak. So
yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye
thank
bye. Good night. Yes,
Thank you,
Rishmika?
everybody.
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining us today. I hope you take a wonderful concept back to your clinic, back to your practice, and keep visiting us. And thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much.
And please, one clinical note or one personal note. Don't apply miasmatic miasm if your mother-in-law is like this ka. Understand? So don't apply this there. Huh? It is only for clinical practice, not for your only practice. Okay? See
All
you.
right
Good
then.
night. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good
Okay,
night.
good
Bye.
night.
See you. Good
Thank
night.
you so much.
Thank you.